Less than 24 hours after the storm, the Xfinity Center main floor is a winter sports wonderland as the Terps wrestle Binghamton. Maryland Gymnastics looks to keep rolling as it meets the Owls of Southern Connecticut State. The Gym Terps currently averaging 196, 215 points, up to number 24 in the country. I'm Shane Connick alongside longtime NCAA gymnastics commentator Christina Chauvenet. And Christina, this Maryland team is performing really well right now.
Yeah, you know, they're coming off a great streak that they had on the road. Remember, as we get into national qualifying score, what these teams use to qualify for postseason, you have to count 3 road scores. They've gotten 2 196s, one really high 195. They're really pushing towards that 197, so that's going to be exciting to see if they can break through that tonight.
Coach Nelligan told us that going to these Big Ten meets a lot of times, you know, it's like you're all worried, you got a Big Ten meet pressure. He said just relax today, like he told us, just have fun today. There's the competition order. The Terps will start off on the vault.
Yeah, and this has been a really strong event for Maryland this season. Couple of 10.0 start value vaults towards the end of that rotation, so it's a great place for them to start. They haven't been at home in about 4 meets, and so it's really exciting for them to get back in their own home arena, get that Olympic order. And
absolutely exciting tonight with the Beauty and the Beast, always exciting in the Xfinity Center. A lot of buzz around the building prior to the start today. There's Brett Nelligan, the man in charge for the Terrapins, and their lineup on the vault looks the same as it did last time.
Yeah, and the back 3 of that lineup, Silberman, Rothenbuscher, Rubio, all those athletes capable of pushing into those high 9.8, even 9.9 ranges.
These are some top gymnasts. Reese McClure and Alexis Rubio have had back-to-back performances where they've scored a 9.825 on the vault. And there's Byron Knox, the head coach for Southern Connecticut State. He told us about that this program is one that he wants to get gymnasts who can see the potential that they have. Don't necessarily need to have a whole accomplished background, but as long as he sees the potential in them, and that's what he's done with these gymnasts during his time here. Coached at Bridgeport for 16 years before that, a long-time name in gymnastics.
Yeah, exactly. So he was at the helm of Bridgeport when they were really at the top of that Division II game. He's bringing that energy to Southern Connecticut State. When we had a chance to talk with him before the meet, he talked to us about wanting to go really clean, focusing on clean execution, even if it meant not getting those 10.0 start values at this point in the season. I think that's a really smart decision to set them up for success moving towards postseason.
Absolutely, and that's how, you know, a lot of these gymnasts continue to develop, particularly some that we'll get into, like Hannah Stolbrot, a former All-American, now a grad student for Southern Connecticut. Looks like just about ready to get going on the vault. Josephine Kogler is going to be leading it off for Maryland. She had a 9.8 on the vault last time out at Rutgers.
Yeah, and they had a really solid showing at Rutgers. Looking for them to hone in on these landings. We're getting into mid-season. Really important to get some of those sticks. She's going to lead off with a Yurchenko full, valued out of a 9.95.
Josephine Kogler has played a big role on this team since arriving last year as a freshman. And she will lead things off once again.
A nice job, good body position in the air. Did not quite get that stick, but minimize the distance of the hop, so minimize that deduction on landing.
So we go quickly over to the bars where Megan Workman is on for the Owls.
And just had to muscle that transition a little bit to the high bar. Gearing up for her dismount here. Double layout. Wow, nice landing. I love to see them going for that difficult E-level dismount. Really strong start for Southern Connecticut. Now remember, Southern Connecticut State, they are Division II. The Division II and III teams in college gymnastics compete in the same meets as Division I. They use the same code of points. They are eligible to qualify for NCAA postseason, but they also have what's called the USAG National Championships. That's for Division II, III, and Ivy Leagues, those teams that don't have the bigger scholarship. So that's the big postseason goal for this team.
And it's interesting, especially as a lot of these D2, 3 schools still get to compete against Division I schools throughout the year and then have the chance to compete against them in the championship at the end of the year.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's wonderful. I'm a big fan of Division II gymnastics.
And so we now have Reese McClure going up next. She has posted 4 9.825s in her last 5 performances.
She got nice block off the table. When I say block, what I mean is that rise straight up the table. So for these twisting vaults, the moniker is flip, then twist. That's exactly what she did. Again, one of those small hops, but in that half 10th range for deduction.
And we go back to the bars, Sarah Musa going up for Southern Connecticut.
And you see the wrestling going on in the background, going on simultaneously. Not really my wheelhouse to commentate, but seems like they're having a good meet as well.
A lot of action on your screen right
exactly.
now. I mean, a lot to keep track of. Fortunately, we have an additional broadcast of wrestling going on right now. Tyler Lochte has the call over there. They've got the beast, we've got the beauty, I guess you could say.
Exactly, there you go. It looks like just a little judging delay. I did just see them flip the score, 9-4-5 for that opening routine.
At 133 pounds, gold medal, King Sandoval.
Here we go. So Sarah Musa, the sophomore from Bohemia, New York, steps up to the bars.
And short on that opening handstand. Wow, big Tkachev. Love the height that she got on that. Every time these athletes are swinging to handstand, if they are not just like that, there will be a deduction that increases with the magnitude of how short they were. Does that full turn into double back, though, I really like the level of these dismounts, and she had a huge Tkachev in there. But yeah, handstand angle is going to be one that we want to watch, want to see them get as close to vertical as possible.
So that brings us to Olivia Weir up on the vault. She had a 9.75 at Rutgers.
Nice vault for her as well. You know, these opening vaults have looked really similar, getting really nice height and distance, just not getting those sticks. And the reason that I'm harping on that is because Maryland is pushing into that high 196 range. When you're trying to push into that 197, that's a 9.85 average per routine. And so those little half tenths are big areas to pick up if they really want to push into that top 20 in the country.
So back to the bars, it'll be Audrey Arnold up now for Southern. The junior from Kirkland, Washington.
And Southern Connecticut really coming off a nice scoring trajectory as well. They got their highest score of the season last weekend at Yale. So talked to Coach Byron Knox about that and said, you know, he just really has been working on them building every meet. Right now, they're ranked 9th in those USAG rankings. Top 8 go to nationals. So they are really trying to push into that top group to qualify to USAG nationals as a team.
Southern Connecticut, the 9th ranked Division II team, the number 65 ranked squad overall, which gives some perspective is, you know, that's not crazy far out. And they're not even a Division I program.
Yeah, and as I said, I'm a big fan of Division II and Division III gymnastics. So many great athletes competing in those divisions. Getting started here. Does that blind change? Oh, no, went for that blind change to Jaeger combination there. Just mistimed her release and couldn't catch. Nice handstand. Good recovery on that bail to handstand. A nice handstand on that high bar. I really appreciate her going for broke on these handstands. Again, that full turn into double back. Too bad about that release move, but lots of potential there.
So that will bring Emma Silberman up on the vault.
And this is a cool vault. Different entry. She does the full onto the table, pike off. You know, takes that step. That's probably a 10th deduction on landing as well, but does a nice job of maintaining that pike position in the air. I really like that.
So a nice performance there from Emma Silberman, and we go back to the bars. It is JC Jordan's turn. JC Jordan, a junior. She competes on the bars, floor, and vault, a Tennessee native. An interesting thing about JC Jordan, among several athletes on this team, transferred from University of Bridgeport.
Absolutely, and obviously with their coach coming from Bridgeport to Southern Connecticut, you know, we do see that in gymnastics and other sports, those athletes kind of following along. But, you know, was the coach at Bridgeport for 16 seasons, I believe, so created quite a powerhouse there and is now in that rebuilding phase of the program here, and really exciting to see what he's doing with this team.
And Byron Knox looking to bring up this Southern Connecticut program the same way. It is time here with the Owls, and now here goes Jordan.
And does that free hip. Oh, really cool release sequence there. Does coming into her dismount here. Wow, I absolutely love that routine. She does this really difficult release move called a Delchev in the middle of that routine. Had a big step on that landing, but really nice variety in that routine.
So a nice performance there in the number 4 spot out of 6 on the bars, and that brings us back to the vault and Alexa Rolfenbücher.
Wow, and that's the best I've seen her hone that landing on that Suk full. That Suk full, Sukahara full is valued out of a 10.0, so that is, Silberman has that 10.0 vault. This is the second one. Still just some little form to clean up, but that, I believe that's the first time she stuck that in this season.
And seemed to sprint particularly fast by us on the vault that time.
Yeah, and you know, when I talked to Coach Nelligan about this vault, he said, you know, she's so powerful, she really needs to just relax before that run, trust her training, and I think you saw her do that and really, really saw the result in that landing.
So back we go to the bars. It is Sienna Rios, the sophomore from Vineland, New Jersey. Had a season best 9.8 on the bars back on January the 21st.
41 pounds for Binghamton, Christian Ganode. And for your turn.
And she's really got a high scoring potential here. Has a season high of a 9.8. And again, just there's been some scoring delays here. You see the head judge there kind of talking to the judges. So I don't know if they're having a conference or what's going on, but this is a challenging moment for athletes because, you know, you're ready to go, you've got that adrenaline, and you have to take a pause and, you know, wait for the judges to decide on the score. That happens when there's a judges conference when the scores that the judges give are more than 2/10 apart. So, you know, they have to meet. Oftentimes it's a start value issue, but I am now seeing a score being flashed, I think.
Looks
so
like it.
Hopefully we can move to
well, there is Sienna Rios, and there she goes.
really nice handstand off the top. Caught a little close on that Jaeger, but really does well to keep it moving. Yeah, really pretty handstand work here. Nice, powerful, full twisting double back. I really am liking the variety that we're seeing in the lineup and how they are going for these difficult dismounts.
So Alexis Rubio coming up now on the vault for the Terrapins.
And she is such a powerhouse. Check out the height she gets here. Oh, and that's what I think we call a college stick. She didn't quite stick it, but she tried to sell it. And that should probably be, when you see those little like micro hops, that's about that should be a half-tenth deduction. But she just has really great technique, gets that nice rise off the table, and really puts it into the rafters.
So that will wrap up the 6 vaulters listed for Maryland.
And we do have an exhibition. In fact, I think we have exhibitions for both teams, but wraps up the scoring lineup.
So it'll be Hannah Stahlbrot going now for Southern Connecticut. And Christina, her freshman year on March 10th, 2019, she tied the school's all-time record on the balance beam, that was, with a 9.85. As for the bars, she had a season best 9.775 her last time out there.
Yeah, and that is really, it's great to have that trajectory coming in. Again, we're having another scoring conference here, so not sure what's going on there. Head judge Ricky Stakem there, trying to resolve those discrepancies. And this is where the training, you can see she's doing some kind of mental sets, keeping herself loose, because you really just want to, we always say, like, you want to do normal in gymnastics, and it's hard when you're kind of faced with that, so good to see her kind of going through some of her mental cues there.
Yeah, it's definitely, you have these, you're ready to go, and then you have a long stoppage of time, and it just can throw you off a bit.
Exactly.
And as an athlete, how significant is that? You don't realize it, maybe you're watching it, it just seems, but, how big of a deal when you're ready to go? And
it's something that the athletes train for. The teams will be practicing this, but it's certainly not the ideal situation. And a 9.725 flash there for Rios. Well-deserved. I really enjoy that routine.
Well, it looks like Hannah Stahlbrot is ready, and here we go.
And gearing up for that Jaeger release as well. Nice. Really good position. Oh, she caught a little close on that transition, but again, really fought through it. Pretty handstand on the high bar. Nice landing on that double layout. When we talked to Coach Byron Knox, I'm going to have to say, I think that he undersold them a little bit. He said they weren't going to put out full difficulty, but I've seen some really difficult routines here, so really nice to see them. Really good technique as well. That's what you want to see these at. Yeah, they had some mistakes here and there, but to go for these really difficult dismounts is really impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know if we were going to see all the difficulty. Because he said we're saving some of the difficulty for later in the season, so I can't wait to see what they debut later in the season.
Exactly. So got an exhibition coming up now. Will be Taylor Reck.
Wow. And another nice vault for Maryland. Again, this is one of their stronger events. I think the thing is there's still room to grow. There are still some of those half-tenths to pick up in the landing, but good to have that exhibition spot. Again, does not count towards the team total, but is an option if they want to rest somebody later in the season, or of course you never want injuries to happen, but that is the reality in sports sometimes.
So we have one more exhibition going on the bars, I believe, or do we? We do. Sarah Ortiz up there for Southern Connecticut, but we are officially through the first rotation at this point, as all 6 gymnasts have gone on both sides.
And nice Ginger release move there. Some leg separation. And yeah, just some leg separation on that transition as well, but fights up to that handstand. Smooth connection in that toe shoot. That large step back is going to creep above the 1/10 deduction. Again, you know, on these landing deductions, the size of deduction is proportionate to the size of the step or the hop that you take. But yeah, some really nice qualities through that bar routine. Just some leg separations to clean up throughout that, which I know I sound nitpicky, but this is what the judges are doing as well, going pen to paper anytime those issues occur.
So through the first rotation, what stood out to you from both of these teams?
You know, I think that I was really impressed with how Southern Connecticut was going for these difficult dismounts, because in gymnastics you have to do these more difficult dismounts in order to meet what's called up to the level. So you either need to do a D or E level release, dismount, or a C dismount in combination. I love that they were going for all of those dismounts, had some nice, good release variety in the lineup.
So as they take a short break in between rotations, we'll take one with them. And we'll be back in a moment for the next rotation on Big Ten Plus. It's time for the second rotation here at Xfinity Center. Through one, Maryland, 49.2. Southern Connecticut, 47.9.
Yeah, you know, I think both teams got off to a good start. Remember, in gymnastics, for postseason qualification, records do not matter. It's all about scoring. So it's about improving on what you've done from the last week, continuing that scoring momentum. And I think that both teams can be really happy with how they started.
Maryland had a 49.025 on the vault last time out. Today, a 49.2. So slight improvement there for the Terrapins.
Yeah, solid start. Reese McClure and Josephine Kogler both getting those season highs. So nice to see them pushing forward.
So, taking a look at the lineup the Terps will have on the bars, back-ended by Sierra Kondo, Emma Silverman, and Aleka Chiknius.
And I have to also just shout out Hannah Stahlbrett for Southern Connecticut. Really loved her bar work in that anchor spot. Gets a 9.8, her season high as well.
Yeah, to take a look at the results from earlier, Josephine Kogler, Reese McClure, Alexa Rothenbuscher, and Alexis Rubio all score 9.85s. Emma Silverman a 9.8 and Olivia Weir a 9.775. And then on the bars for Penn State, like Christina just said, Hannah Stahlbrott a 9.8 at the end, and then Sienna Rios a 9.725, JC Jordan a 9.525, Megan Workman a 9.45, Sarah Musa a 9.45, and Audrey Arnold an 8.9.
The judges will be looking for straight body lines, high flying releases.
So the lineup that the Owls have here on the vault, Lexi Bracher, Hannah Zebdi, two of their best gymnasts at the end.
Let's begin our second rotation.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, as we are moving into this second rotation, it's going to, we've got Maryland on bars. They have had some really strong rotations this year. Again, it's about honing in on those landings. We are going to be looking for handstands as well, although Maryland's done pretty well with those, particularly the last couple meets. But seeing how many stuck landings they can get on bars is going to be critical. And, you know, as you take a look at those scores, you see 49 on every event is pacing on a 196. 49.25, you're pushing up towards that 197 pace. And a 48 is pacing on a 192. I think that Southern Connecticut would be happy with a 192 road score, something in there that, again, they can use for their national qualifying score. National qualifying score, remember, you take the top 6 scores that the team has made. 3 of those have to be away, so it's really important to get good road scores. And then you remove that top score, the 5 remaining are average, so it's a bit of an algorithm, but getting a good road score really critical for qualifying for those USAG Nationals.
So just about ready to get going on the vault. Libby Allen starting things off.
And there's that Souk style vault, same style that we saw from Alexa Rothenbuscher. That is a layout, not the twisting one that we saw from Rothenbuscher. So lower start value, starts out of a 9.8, but gets really nice block on there. Nice rise off the table. And we talked to Byron Knox, says she has twisted that vault. We might see that as we move towards postseason.
So here is Rhea LeBlanc starting it off for Maryland on the bars.
There's that piked Jaeger. Is more difficult than that the straddled Jaeger, which is more common. Gearing up for dismount here, does that double layout. Little bit of shape issues in the air. What by shape issues, what I mean is that in that laid out position, you want to see the hips fully extended. Didn't quite do that, but I love the difficulty that she goes for with that piked Jaeger in the routine.
So that'll bring up Elena Bailey now for Southern Connecticut. She's a sophomore from around here, from Woodbridge, Virginia. She went to Woodbridge Senior High School down in Prince William County. A number of Northern Virginia natives on this roster for Southern Connecticut State.
And she does that Yurchenko layout. The Yurchenko layout start value is a 9.75, so that's the maximum score that she can get for that vault. Pretty nice body position in the air and got good rise off the table. We'll see some of their vaults later in the lineup that are those twisting vaults that are pushing that difficulty up more in the 9.9 range.
Next up on the bars for your turf, Victoria Gatzendorfer.
So here is Victoria Gatzendorfer.
I really like her style on both bars and beam. She has great toe point. Look at the attention there. Little leg separation on the backswing and some leg separation in that pack salto as well. And does that difficult stalter into double back. Maybe just a little labored on the stalter, but it's unusual to see that in NCAA gymnastics and cool. As I said, I really love her toe point. The attention to detail is really lovely.
So now on to third up in the rotation. It is Brianna Dorr.
And that's one of those twisting vaults that I was talking about. She does the Yurchenko fold that we saw from a lot of the Maryland gymnasts, but in the tucked position. So that's out of a 9.9 start value, but a big difference, obviously, between that and the laid out version. So really important to get those twisting vaults in the lineup if they want to push up in that higher scoring threshold. And you see Brett Nelligan there, just giving a little pep talk. He is the lead coach on bars. And if anybody here visits the balance beam situation, you would have seen a GIF of him doing one of these bars walkthrough with his athletes, because he loves to go through and he's giving cues for every single skill there. And yet he is a very technical coach, really likes to do that before routines.
So here's Elizabeth DeBarbery. She tied her season high with a 9.875 at Rutgers.
And difficult Ray connected into that overshoot. Just a little short on that last handstand, but really nice routine. You see Tkachev's more, you don't see Ray's as often in NCAA, that toe-on variation, so fun to see that.
And now on the mat at 157 pounds, for Binghamton, Connor
And I think
Decker.
one of the things that I liked in that routine too, compared to some of the other routines we've seen, she did a nice job of keeping her legs together, particularly on that transition from high to low bar. That's a tricky spot for a lot of gymnasts because you got a lot going on. You've just finished a big skill, you're transitioning to low, so sometimes form can get a little sloppy there. And thankfully we don't have any of my low lights from my club gymnastics career, but my legs were a mess all the time.
Oh.
So, really nice to see that attention to detail there.
Yeah, definitely. So, be continuing now on the vault. It's up to Hannah Stahlbrot.
And she's coming off that really nice bar performance, getting a 9.8. And I'm not entirely sure what's going on here, because it shouldn't be that complicated to score, but now I'm seeing that she's getting the green light to go ahead.
Next up on the vault for the Owls, Hannah Stahlbrot.
So here is Hannah Stahlbrot, a grad student from Cicero, New York, outside of Syracuse. Southern Connecticut State's all-time record holder in the all-around.
And, this is one of the events that she's getting back in on, is coming back from injury. So Coach Knox was really excited about her coming back on this event, doing that full twisting Yurchenko. Nice job there. As you mentioned, she's such a solid contributor for them, really has that high scoring potential, and because those twisting vaults are worth so much more than I shouldn't say just the Yurchenko layouts, because the Yurchenko layouts are very difficult on their own, but they are much more worth a lot more, and so the more twisting vaults they can get into the lineup, the better they're setting themselves up for success. Just some scoring updates for you that we've gotten in on bars. Gatzendorfer 9.8, DeBarbery 9.825. Oh gosh. I was gonna say that was so pretty in the air, but caught a little bit close. And when you catch too close to the bar, the problem is all of these skills build on each other. So she was trying to do a kip cast handstand out of that, and just she caught so close she couldn't keep her swing going.
Yeah, and what do you think happened? Like, is it easy a lot of times to see people slip up kind of like that when they're like on those bars, kind of inadvertently?
Well, as I said, because each skill is building on each other on bars, as opposed to beam where you can do a skill and do some choreography in between, they're swinging continuously on the bar. So the problem is, even if you catch the bar successfully, this is what happened here. She caught the bar okay, but she didn't have the momentum coming out of it to keep that swing going, and that's when you saw her come to that dead hang. She's retrying it there. Nice connection there. And doing that for a couple of different reasons I'll explain after we see her dismount. Let's see here. She can get the landing here on this double layout. Nice recovery. She repeated that sequence in part so she could get connection from the Jaeger release move to the low bar, because hopefully they'll be able to drop that score, but you never know. The lineup is not done yet, and so wanting to make sure that they maximize that start value, and also probably giving her a better mental state coming out of that bar routine, like, hey, I can't hit that combination.
So that'll bring us back to the vault,
Now on the vault for the
where
Owls,
Hannah Zebdi will take her turn. In 5 of her last 7 competitions, Hannah Zebdi, a native of Oakton, Virginia, not too far from here, has scored at least a 9-7. So at least a 9-7 in 5 of her last 7, including all of her last 3.
Yeah, and that is why she is in this position towards the back of the lineup. You know, really, usually what we see in gymnastics is you have those highest potential scoring routines towards the end of the lineup. And yeah, she's just a really solid contributor for them on this event. And as I mentioned, you know, we talk about the scoring thresholds. These Division II and III teams are eligible to qualify for Division I postseason. Most recently, Lindenwood qualified in 2019, I believe. And also individuals are able to qualify to regional championships. But it's really cool, the USAG Nationals, because there's not a lot of Division II and III schools, what happens is these teams are eligible to compete in the USAG Nationals or NCGA Nationals. And Southern Connecticut competes in the USAG Nationals. You have the Ivy, it's for schools that don't have the full availability of scholarships that Division I schools do. So Ivy Leagues are eligible to compete in that as well. And I would highly recommend that for gymnastics fans to check out USAG Nationals. Great competition every year.
Yeah, it definitely could help a team like Southern Connecticut State to be able to come into a venue like Xfinity Center, see a program like Maryland, and obviously like it is when Maryland plays the Michigan States of the world, you hope that it can help bring you up.
Exactly, and also getting competition experience in these bigger arenas, in this environment, is really important for these teams. And there you go. That's why she's in that position in the lineup. Big Yurchenko full in that laid out position. Adding even more difficulty, starts out at that 9.95.
Back to the bars where Alexis Rubio is up. Or, no, it is not Alexis.
This is Emma Silverman, actually.
Yes, that is correct.
Nice job working through this routine. This routine is critical coming off of that fall. Nice stick. She did have some leg separation in the air on the double layout, but I love the way she honed it in, minimized that, or eliminated the landing deduction.
So Lexi Bracher is the anchor for Southern Connecticut State on the vault. She's averaging a 9.65 there.
Another one of those laid out Yurchenko fulls. Didn't quite get the block off of the table that Zebdi did, but did a nice job of controlling the landing and just needs a little bit more pop off the table, but very difficult vault.
So that'll take us back to the bars and Aleka Chiknius, who will look to close things out for the Terrapins. Aleka Chiknius, one of their big seniors on this team.
Yeah, and she has been really solid for them on bars this season. Has a season high of a 9.925. And saw a 9.85 flash for Silverman. So they're getting that momentum back after the fall. Pretty handstand to lead off that routine. She gets so much height on that Jaeger. Absolutely love it. You can see why she is the anchor for this this Maryland bar squad. She's giving a handstand clinic right now. Oh, too bad. Just came in a little shy on that double layout, because if she had stuck that double layout, I think that would have pushed into those 9-9s again. But just came in a little bit short on the double layout. Probably was actually, I think a lot of times when that happens, they're thinking about the stick too much. She knew she had a good routine going, and she was trying to stick it and just opened up a little early. But still, absolutely gorgeous. As I mentioned, her handstand work is lovely.
So a great way to close it out on the uneven bars by Aleka Chiknius and the Terrapins. Back on the vault for the Owls have Ava Kelly will compete.
Oh, and just didn't get the block that she needed off the table. You saw she landed with her chest quite low, had to take that step to the side. But really cool vault. I like that style vault.
And now wrestling at 165 pounds.
So looks like that will almost wrap up this second rotation. We have Athlon Drage going for Maryland on the bars.
She has not been in the scoring lineup yet this season. Nice first handstand. And does that del chip. Gosh, I love that release move. Another one of those athletes doing the double layout. Such a nice routine. Couple of form breaks here and there, but I loved her Delchev release move. Really cool, and Maryland showing that they have some depth on this event.
Definitely good to see it, you know, for the sophomore from Delwood, Minnesota, to get an opportunity in a meet like this, get to perform in front of a crowd, because it's obviously a lot different, even if it's an exhibition, if you're performing in a meet itself in front of a crowd than any other time.
Absolutely, and though the scores from the exhibitions do not count towards the team total, they are scored. So it's a good opportunity for these teams to see how these scores are factoring in and where they might fit into the lineup. And we'll see, you know, Maddie Komorowski later on is somebody who has worked her way into the floor lineup that was previously an exhibition. So sometimes we can see those things shuffle around.
For scoring 9.8 or more on the bars. So get on your feet and make some noise if you want a t-shirt.
So we have now reached the conclusion of the second rotation. We'll have the full scores for you. After this break, you are watching gymnastics on Big Ten Plus. We are halfway through here in College Park. The Terrapins 98-175 points through the two rotations. The Owls 96-375. Christina, what is standing out to you from the Terps today?
Well, you know, I think that what we saw on bars was grit and a lot of determination after that mid-rotation fall. We saw two gymnasts come back at the end and hit routines, really critical for that momentum. That 98-175, so now they're pacing just above a 196, you know, not quite as strong on bars as we have seen from them in previous meets. But still, I think if they can walk away with another 196, they'll be happy. And, you know, beam has been a little bit up and down for Maryland this season, but they're certainly capable of scoring really well here, so this will be a critical event for them.
On bars, they had a 49-3 last time, Maryland did. And today in that department, Terps put up 48.975.
Yeah, just not, some of those form breaks that I pointed out throughout the routine. And what happens when you have a fall in the rotation is you end up having to count a routine that maybe had a couple errors in it, not a big deal, but something that you wouldn't really want to count in the scoring lineup. So, again, not as crisp as we've seen, but not a disaster. Totally fine.
So now that'll take us to the beam. It'll be Emma Silverman, Elizabeth DeWarbury, Reese McClure, Victoria Gatzendorfer, Maddie Komarovsky, and Joe Kogler in the lineup for the Terps.
And for Southern Connecticut as well, they are really pacing well. They are currently right now have a 96.375, so they are on 194 pace, which they have not hit this season, and they would be thrilled to walk away with a 194. They do have to end on beam, which is always a challenging event to end on, but was really impressed with some of the difficulty they're putting towards the end of that lineup. Particularly Hannah Zebdi had that really nice Yurchenko full at the end of the lineup. And you're taking a look at their floor lineup here as well. And floor is actually, for Southern Connecticut, their highest ranked event. So a good place for them to take that momentum that they had a really nice vault rotation and move towards.
Particularly strong team with its floor routine that comes from Abby Royer, Hannah Zebdi, Libby Allen, among others. Maryland starting off on the balance beam, and Emma Silverman. Here we go.
And Silverman, the only all-arounder for Maryland, and she's just been so consistent for them. Gearing up for her triple series here. Back handspring. Ooh, she kind of missed her foot, if I'm being honest, on that second back handspring. But this is what makes her such a great competitor, that she was able to just make that correction, move on as if nothing happened. And a really pretty connection there on those dance elements. Of course, in all of those split positions, we are looking for the athletes to hit 180 degrees. And another one of those college sticks, just a little hop on that landing, should be a half a tenth, but really solid start for the Terps on beam.
For the Southern Connecticut State Owls, Erica Beyer.
So Erica Beyer will be first on the floor for the Owls. They are up on the floor as the third rotation, as they are the visiting team today.
And I have to say, I really enjoyed watching Southern Connecticut warm up, really enjoyed their choreography and performance.
Like you said, it is their highest ranked event.
Nice double back there to open. Good control on that 1.5 to front layout. Really solid tumbling there to open, pretty routine. Couple of actually, I think the biggest area for deduction in that routine were some of the dance elements. Didn't quite get some of those turning dance leaps around, but really loved the tumbling, the control that she had on her tumbling passes.
So back on the bars, or the beam from Maryland, Elizabeth DeBarbery will take her turn.
full turn, one of the required elements in college gymnastics. Super solid on that back handspring layout step out. The acrobatic series, also one of the requirements. Worked well through that dance combination. Does the tuck 3/4, which is tricky to land towards the side. Pretty front aerial. I would like to see a little better positionality in that cat leap. I'd like to see a little bit more of the attitude position. Gearing up for her dismount here. Pace forward, but nice job overall.
Next on floor for the Owls, Ava Boyd.
Comes in just a little short on that opening double pike. Oh. You know, she was going for a tricky combination there, having the jump and then the rebounding flip out of it, and just didn't quite get the timing right. I like that combination, but just looked like there was just the timing and maybe a little bit of routine fatigue there.
Next on the beat for Maryland, Reese McClure.
So Reese McClure coming up now on the beam. Up third.
And this is one of my favorite routines to watch. She's got such pretty toe point. And works to keep that connection going, the aerial to back handspring. She was off on the aerial, but important to keep it going because that is a critical requirement. So you lose start value if you do not connect them. And does the difficult cat leap to the front toss. That's that landing on 2 feet. And again, would like to see a little bit better positionality on the cat leap, but that's common across NCAA gymnastics. I love this dismount, so cool. You really rarely see that in NCAA gymnastics. Really pretty beam routine.
Next on the floor for Southern Connecticut State, Sienna Rios.
So back to the floor now. It is Sienna Rios who will be up.
Wow, super difficult front through to the double back there. And unfortunately came in quite short on that split position in her last leap, but really difficult tumbling in there. That opening combination, I loved the punch front to the double back.
Yeah, here on the beam it is Victoria Gatzendorfer.
And, we talked about her toe point on bars, and that's something you're going to see here as well. She's another one of those athletes doing the triple series. Back handspring, layout, step out. Nice to see her control that. Really solid in that landing. And for doing that triple series, you get 2/10 of additional bonus compared to just doing the back handspring layout step out. And that is really important for how the athletes build their start value up to that 10.0. Look at this, didn't quite hit the position, that ring position as crisply as I have seen her previously, but really difficult jump there. And didn't quite get that stick, but really nice triple series there. She has stumbled on that a couple times this season, so great to see her nail that. Just that ring jump was a little bit off for her, but strong routine.
So that brings us to Libby Allen up on the floor. We saw her on the vault earlier. We'll see her lead off the beam later. Libby Allen had a 9.621 on the floor last time out.
Really nice double pike to open there. She really hit that her landing position, she had her chest up, which is really what we're looking for on those tumbling passes. Nice control on that front layout to front full as well. Really nice routine. She had, I think, of the athletes we've seen from Southern Connecticut, the best control on all of her tumbling passes.
So it'll be Maddie Komarovsky coming up now on the beam. She had a career-high 9.9 last time out.
And when I talked, oh gosh, such a pretty mount there. When I talked to assistant coach Aaron Dooley about this athlete, associate head coach, Aaron Dooley about this athlete, She said she's one of those athletes who has those qualities. Look at the toe point, the extension to really push maybe into that 9.95, maybe even 10.0 range. And you can see why it's just really exquisite. There are no built-in deductions in this routine. So pretty. And by built-in deductions, what I mean is that she is able to do everything to the max, stretch those splits up and beyond 180 degrees. Beat jump into the sheep jump. Gosh, that sheep jump is so difficult. D-rated dance element there. Gosh, and you know, that's like the full turn was the one place in her routine that she has probably struggled a little bit, even though it's one of the easier areas. See if she can stick this dismount. Oh, and she just needed to sink her heels in a little bit. Again, one of those college sticks, but she's so pretty to watch on that event.
Was Sam Dupre. And now on the mat wrestling at 184 pounds for Binghamton, Jacob Nolan. And for your Turks, Kevin Makosi. And now on the floor for the Owls, Abby Royer.
Abby Royer, one of Southern's best on the floor, averaging a 9.725. Her season high is a 9.8.
And coming off a 9.8 from Libby Allen as well. Very well-deserved for that wonderful tumbling we saw. Didn't quite hit that ring position. Nice control of that last pass. I loved her choreography. Really different style than a lot of the sort of pop or electronic style music that we see. I enjoyed her performance.
So Josephine Kogler will round it out on the beam for Maryland. She set her career high at Rutgers as well with a 9.925. Let's see if she can follow that up. Got the brief silence for it. Music turned off.
And doing that triple series as well. Wow. Super controlled. And I love that front walkover. Just a little variety, something different to add a little flair to the routine. Really pretty split positions. Wow, really pretty routine. You know, the Maryland lineup so far, every routine has had a little something in there that didn't go quite right. I think that was the most complete set that we saw from any of the Maryland gymnasts, and she's just got that pretty toe point. Her triple series absolutely nailed it.
Another strong performance from Jo Kogler on the beam. That brings us to back to the floor. Will be Hannah Zebdi, I believe.
very well controlled double back there. Pretty dance series. Oh, and just a little out of control on that jump out of her tumbling pass. Gosh, that was so pretty as well. She's having a great day coming off that season high on her Yurchenko full and really well controlled. You know, in college gymnastics, you can take a controlled lunge out of your tumbling passes, but that's really difficult for athletes to do, and sometimes you don't see them as controlled. She did a really nice job there.
Hannah Zebdi, clearly one of their best gymnasts, continuing to show it there on the floor. The Ashburn native and Broad Run alum. Back to the beam. An exhibition here from Olivia Weir.
And Kogler well rewarded in that anchor spot 9-9. Weir's working nicely through this routine. Really confident beam work, and she's maintained nice toe point throughout. I like that dance combination. You don't have to see that, the switch split jump. And again, a really cool combination. The standing layout step out, or out of the beat jump, excuse me. I really enjoy her beam work. Very aggressive beam worker. And doing that back handspring, 1.5. Wow. She's telling the coaches that she is ready to be in a scoring lineup position.
Very strong performance from Olivia Weir in the exhibition, and that's the thing. You give your good gymnasts opportunities to compete in different events and could show promise for the future, especially as they're getting, like we say, that chance to compete in an event, an actual meet like this.
Absolutely.
It's an exhibition on the floor from Alexa Melanson.
Difficult. 2.5 twists to punch front there. Pretty Rudy to end that routine. Wow, Southern Connecticut is really impressing me tonight. I mean, they're going to beam, so I'm not going to jinx them. I'm not going to say anything about their projected score, but I am going to say I really enjoy those performances and really high level of difficulty in their tumbling.
So that will wrap up The floor, taking a look at the updated scores through 3 rotations. It is the Terrapins with 147-35, and then Southern Connecticut State with a strong 145 points. So just before we head to the final rotation, we'll take one last short break here on Big Ten Plus. You are watching Gymnastics, Beauty and the Beast on Big Ten Plus.
Scores of 9-8 or higher.
Welcome back to Xfinity Center. I'm Shane Connick. She's Christina Chauvenet. And Christina, through 3 rotations, we got the final one coming up right now. The beam is a particularly strong event for the Owls. They'll be on there, led by Angel Lee, who's coming off a 9.721 the last time out on the balance beam.
Yeah, and I actually think she might, or maybe her season high is at 9.875. She is really lovely to watch on beam, has some unique elements that I will point out as well. Maryland moving to floor, which is a pretty strong event for them.
And so Maryland on the floor there, you see Taylor Reckel started off. Reese McClure will finish it. The floor always entertaining to see the Terrapins go on there at the end of a home meet. On the balance beam, talking about that, Angel Lee will anchor for the Owls.
Yeah, and so this is, you know, I talked about the pacing at this meet, and looking at the way that these teams are scoring, Southern Connecticut is on pace to have a season high if they can do what they did last week on beam. So that would be really strong for them to continue that positive trajectory. You know, Maryland is not going to be able to score in the high 196s because they just haven't, it hasn't been a perfect night for Maryland. But I like the grit that I've seen from them. They still haven't had to count a fall. They were fighting for it. They can still score a solid 196, and that will be meaningful for them as they continue to build their NQS.
So Maryland looking nice thus far with a 147.35 right now.
And as I mentioned, you know, obviously barring a major change, Maryland is going to win this meet. But it's about the scoring. It's about these teams moving towards, I think, you know, if Southern Connecticut came out of this meet with a 193, they'd be really happy. And for Maryland, you know, in that 196 threshold, they'd probably like to score a little higher, but that's what we're looking at.
So starting it off on the beam, it is Libby Allen.
And she's coming off a great performance on floor, 9.8, her season high. Fights on that back handspring layout step out. She is showing some grit through this routine because that aerial she was off on just like her series, but fights to stay on. Really important in that lead-off position. Just the dismount here. Takes that hop, but like I said, I really appreciate the fight that she had throughout that routine. A couple times she could have come off and she really fought to stay on.
And it's always interesting to see that kind of resiliency that some of these gymnasts have. It's easy to just kind of fall off. We're talking about that on the bars. It's easy to slip off or something, and it's how you move forward from that that could really help define you.
Absolutely, and especially in that lead-off spot, you want to get the team's momentum going in the right direction, so good for her.
So starting it off on the floor for Maryland, Taylor Reck will go up first.
Front double full, maybe just a bit of a stutter step, side step there. Nice double back, powerful. One and a half to front layout, nicely controlled there. Nice opening routine for Maryland.
Now on the beam for the Owls, Amelia Diaz.
Amelia Diaz up second on the beam for Southern Connecticut.
And cool mount there. I really like the way that she does that handstand work. Oh, so pretty. All of this down on the beam work, I really appreciate it because these gymnasts are not getting a lot of bonus for doing these elements, and it really is just adding to the artistry of the beam routine. Cool acrobatic combination, just hangs on to that. Aerial, aerial. Of course, we see that back handspring layout step out a lot. But one of the things I really like about this routine is her unique elements. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love this routine. Nothing cookie cutter in this routine for sure. Oh no, too bad. Just was not ready for that landing. Has to take that big pace to the side, but I absolutely love the composition of that routine. Really stunning.
Maryland, Jackson Smith.
So back on to the floor for the Terrapins, Rhea LeBlanc. Had a 9.875 with her career high last time out.
Just didn't quite get the set on that 1.5 front layout, but fought through it and got the layout around. Really nice final pass. That middle pass, I don't think the camera caught her facial expression, but she knows she really fought for that middle pass. And again, good to see that grit. A couple of other minor places in the routine, but she really fought through that routine.
So we've reached the moment where Narco plays, probably because they play it before the last match of Maryland wrestling meets now.
Right.
But you hear this song everywhere
Sure.
since Edwin Diaz started using it as a song with the Mets. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, Narco's playing on the balance beam. We are up.
Is
He had.
he working on his PhD or what's going on there?
He has had, COVID year, 5th year, all that, but he's been in College Park for a long time. Has been a great part of this Maryland wrestling program. Back to gymnastics. Emily Call up on the beam.
Nice aerial back handspring combination there. And she's one of those athletes, I've said several times I'd like to see proper positionality on the cat leap, and she did a good job there. Just a little shy on that second split. Just a little hop there on that landing, but I really like her style on being really pretty toe point. Just some minor deductions in the routine, but overall really strong.
So Maddie Komarovsky coming up on the floor.
And this is one of the athletes, as I mentioned, that worked her way into the scoring lineup, had been performing an exhibition, and she's going to show some of those same great qualities that she has on beam, on floor. She has really pretty toe point throughout the routine. Gosh, gorgeous, Rudy. Difficult ring full. You know, didn't quite hit the position, but I love that she's going for it. Those athletes doing a two-pass routine. 1.5 front layout. I really enjoy that routine. Just, again, she goes for that really difficult switch ring full. That's an E-rated dance element, and stumbled out of it a little bit, but I absolutely love to see that. Not very many people doing that in college gymnastics, and her twisting form is just really lovely to watch.
So that brings up Maria Damiano on the beam. Good to see the freshman get some reps. The freshman from Randolph, New Jersey. I think I know a thing or two about that place.
Yeah, where are you from, Shane?
I am a Randolph, New Jersey native myself. Just had some fun before this meet. She was in homeroom with my sister for 4 years, and her first year watching me on the morning announcements, and now I'm calling a gymnastics meet she's in.
Small world. And handles that aerial back handspring really nicely there. You're bringing the hometown luck to her. Oh, a nice fight on that aerial. Again, her back foot was off, but she just made the correction pretty seamlessly. Goes to that difficult switch half, a little bit shy of split. Pretty full turn, finishes that in releve. That is what we would, the ideal. Oh, and just the teeniest of hops on that. But you got to be proud of your hometown.
Hey, once a ram, always a ram. She knows what she's doing.
There we go.
And now on the floor for your turns.
So on the floor, that'll take us to the fourth spot where Emma Silberman will be up now.
Great job controlling that jump after her tumbling pass. with really pretty twisting for him, like we saw from Komoroski. You know, again, just super solid all-arounder for Maryland. She's made such a huge contribution to this program.
Absolutely does. Great to see the four-year senior continuing to push through. Now, Abby Royer is up for Southern Connecticut. Had back-to-back 9.775s in her last 2 times on the beam.
Southern Connecticut is rocking it on beam right now. Difficult front toss to beat jump combination. That front toss is the kind of like the aerial, but you land on 2 feet, so it makes it more difficult. Wow, really impressed with how this lineup has gone. And again, there's been a couple of times where I thought a gymnast could have come off or had a bigger break, and they really worked to smoothly correct that and minimize the deduction.
So here's Alexa Rothenbuscher on the floor. Had a 9.925 last time out. Maryland in its last meet put up a 49.375 on the floor. That was a season best and their highest score on the floor since they got a 49.4 on March 6, 2020.
Yeah, they had one of those meets at Rutgers where it felt like they were just on fire. Again, Brett Nelligan told me there's still room for them to pick up 10s, but she's such a powerful athlete. Obviously, we saw her do that souk full on vault and going to see that same power here. Hip to double back, nails that landing. Just a little, open up a little early out of that double pike. Yeah, not going to get that 9-9 range this week because she did open up early on her double pike there, but really, you know, she is so powerful. And again, it's not Maryland's best meet this season, but I do appreciate that even though it's not their best meet, they're still going to score a 196. I think that says a lot about the depth of this team.
Exactly, that it doesn't have to be your best performance. They can still look as strong as they look. And, you know, even if you're going against a Michigan State, it might look a lot better, even if it's similar score.
Exactly.
So here on the beam, Abby Royer.
Oh, and really difficult combination there. Handles that really nicely. And actually, this is Angel Lee here.
Yeah.
Pretty aerial back handspring. Gosh. Scored a 9.875 this season and really pretty toe point. I love the way she works beam on releve. And she does one of these cool front gainer. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. I love that routine. Getting mobbed by the teammates, no better feeling.
Especially at the end of a meet like this, you're getting toward the end, your last event, you have a performance like that and bring everyone together.
And I think that they are, we'll have to take a look at the scores
Reese
to
McClure.
confirm, but I think they just blasted through their season high. And Reese McClure here to wrap things up for the Terps in their scoring performances. Great control there. Front layout, front full, nice control. Really pretty twisting form, fun routine. To me, that's really the whole package where artistry meets athleticism, and she really demonstrated that.
So a nice way to wrap that up if you're Maryland. We have an exhibition here with Hannah Stolbrot. See what she's got on the beam.
Ooh, cool, inside turn there. Really clean back handspring layout step out. And remember, she is working her way back from injury, so may see her in the scoring lineup later this season. Oh, she just didn't get that the stretch in that straddle element, but just powers through. Wow, difficult double twist off beam. Just had that snafu where she couldn't get the straddle position, but really nice scoring potential there.
And you know, that wasn't the first time she's ever been on a balance beam in College Park. Back on her freshman, she's a grad student, her freshman year, March 10th, 2019. I started to say this earlier, but for real this time, March 10th, 2019, she tied her school's record on the beam with a 9.85 at a quad that Maryland hosted with Penn, Brown, and Southern Connecticut State. And the Owls, real quick, scored 192.7 that meet, and that's a program record on the Maryland exhibition on the floor. It is Taylor Oster out.
Nice double pike to close there. You know, kind of came into that exhibition spot as Komorowski came into the scoring lineup, but Maryland got a lot of options. And I think, you know, that's one of the better routines I've seen her do this season.
So we'll have another exhibition coming up for Southern Connecticut State. Looks like Ava Kelly.
Nice back handspring layout, step out. Oh, and was doing a nice job of holding that passe position and just fell out of it a little bit. One and a half dismount. Just some areas for deduction in that routine, little slip ups, but she did have some. She had a really nice series in there, and again, a lot of grit to fight through some of those mistakes.
So here's Shani Sirota with an exhibition for the Terps.
Nice control on that double back. Good for her. She hasn't been in the scoring lineup yet, so one of those first years getting that experience. Again, getting mobbed by her teammates. Nice control of her tumbling passes. Just a couple of form things here and there, but definitely another routine that could make its way into the lineup.
Definitely promising for Maryland in general. It's had big performances from the gymnasts to kind of, think it would, and then also seeing everyone just collectively doing well, and then to see the exhibitions doing well. It's an all-around team effort, and they looking like going to be a 196.5, so
yeah,
not a bad way to have it.
And that's higher than I thought that they were going to be able to get into. Really nice floor performance overall for Maryland. They really ended this meet on a high note. And again, as I mentioned, particularly on bars and beam, not the best that we've seen from them this season. So certainly 197 is an achievable goal for this team. And then you look at Southern Connecticut, they scored a 193, and that is, they scored a 192.275 in their last meet. So not only is that their season high, that's their season high by a point. Huge amount of growth. They started off their season 186. The trajectory there is really impressive. I loved seeing them on beam. I hope that if you're watching this beat and maybe you don't typically watch Division II or Division III gymnastics, you've gotten excited about Division II gymnastics.
And also what we talked about during the Michigan State match about the other team raising the level that you're competing at. And you look at Southern Connecticut State, like you said, every week improving. Now you're seeing a team like Maryland that is on paper better than you, and to perform almost as well as they do and better than you have all year. It's very promising for a program like that.
And that's what I love about college gymnastics is that you can see these teams leveling up against each other, but ultimately you can measure your success against yourself from previous weeks. Of course, you can't control the judging. That's something all coaches will tell you, and sometimes scores don't go the way that you think. Maybe they're overscored here or there, but you can generally see that trajectory, and really great to see that for Southern Connecticut.
So we'll have the award ceremony and all that coming up next on Big Ten Plus. Maryland, a 196.5 and a win in a duel on a Friday night over Southern Connecticut State.
Fans, it's now time.
And here it's time for the award ceremony. Maryland, its final official team score, a 196.550 officially. Southern Connecticut, 193.4.
2011 to 2015. She currently sits top 3 in program history on vault and top 6 on floor. Dodge was a 2013 NACGC
And Katie Dodd
All-American
presenting
and part
the
of
awards here.
2013
If you're an old school Gymternet fan, you will know Katie Dodd from her absolutely stellar Maryland career, one of the best terrapin gymnasts ever.
And now our top score on vault, all with scores of 9.85 from Maryland, Alexis Rubio, Alexis Rothenbucher, Reese McClure, and Josephine Kodler.
And, you know, just really steady performance for Maryland. You saw you had 4 athletes tying for that 9.85 there.
From Maryland, Emma Silverman.
Emma Silverman, the only all-arounder today.
And, you know, we talked about her leadership, you know, has just been so solid for the Terps and well-deserved there.
With scores of 9.9, both from Maryland, Josephine Kodler and Maddie Komorowski.
Maddie Komorowski, you know, that athlete that I talked about really has unlimited potential, and Josephine Kogler is so pretty to watch as well.
With scores of 9.875, both from Maryland, Emma Silverman and Alexa Rothenbucher. And tonight's all-around champion, finishing with a score of 39.3 from Maryland, Emma Silverman.
And this is that consistency that you talk about with Silverman, you know, just 9.8, 9.85, 9.775, 9.825. So important to have that consistency for Maryland.
Southern Connecticut State University.
And, you know, shout out Southern Connecticut State blasting through their previous season high.
Top tonight with a total team score of a 196.55. Your Maryland Terrapins.
Not a season high for Maryland, but I think they can be really happy. Scored a mid-196 with room to grow. That's going to be really important to get those mid-high 196s to build their national qualifying score.
So the Gym Terps get a very nice victory. You know, that's what Brett Nelligan told us before this meet. Just have fun today. Go out there. You know, don't worry about, you know, Big Ten. You know, have fun. Friday night, haven't been home in a while, and I'd say they had fun. Putting up a very strong 196